Hey vinyl community, Jason here. It's Friday evening. It's been a while since I did a video, but I saw people doing vinyl tags. I watched a couple today actually, and I do enjoy vinyl tag. I enjoyed it last year, so I want to jump in and do it this year. Plus it's been a while. I've been wanting to do a video, just been super busy. I had a baby, or my wife had a baby, but so I've been spending a lot of time with my son, but he was sick for a while, whatever. But now I have some time. I got some time in the evening. Everyone's asleep, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump into this. First, what we're listening to. This is Dom Salvador y Abolición, Som Sangre y Raza, which I believe means skin, blood, and race, maybe. So Dom Salvador is he was a Brazilian jazz pianist. Played with Victor Assis Brazil. I think he had his own trio. He was all over the place, piano player. He just showing up on everyone's records. But this is a little bit more funkier. It's definitely still has some jazz elements, but you can hear it's got definitely a lot of soul influence as well. So I really enjoyed this. And I believe the first question is best finds 2019. So I did find this last year. I actually got 2 copies. I found a copy for a good price. I got a couple records I wanted, and then I actually found an upgraded sleeve, so I actually have 2 copies. So if anyone's interested, I'm probably gonna sell this copy if anyone's interested, maybe a trade or something, I don't know. But anyways, this was an online find. This is not exactly, I don't consider it like my best finds because I had to kind of go out and hunt for it. So I actually want to show some records I actually found. I bought two really nice collections this year. The first one was like all jazz, had kind of mild. I think I might have been the last video I did. I showed a bunch of the stuff I bought from that, and I just bought one in October, and I flipped it in like a month and a half, and I kept like 15 records. So I'll show one record from that. Anyways, I got 2 records here. This is probably my best find, I would say, because I was not expecting to find this record out in the wild. I'd never seen it before. So this is the original on, is that Straight Records. It has the insert in it as well. So yeah, I was really stoked to get this. Actually, I pretty much bought the collection because I really wanted this record. I mean, it's an insane record. It's kind of in a genre of its own, so it was a really nice find. And the second one I want to show, I don't know, I think I showed the records I found from that collection. This is Miles Davis, kind of blue. This is the original mono 6i. So yeah, I've found this record a few times. This is the second time I found the original press, but the first one I found was just like torn up. This one's in pretty good condition. I would call it like a weak VG plus maybe. But yeah, really stoked to get this. So yeah, this was a great find. Yeah, so this came in the big jazz collection I bought. Let's see, next question. Favorite album of 2019. So actually, I was kind of looking through. I haven't been buying a lot of new music. I have about those couple collections I went through, and I don't really go to like music festivals anymore and stuff. So my like listening to new bands, I'm way behind. So I only bought a handful of new albums in 2019, less than 10 for sure, maybe 5. But this one was, I'm a little picky, and I find a lot of older records. So, but this one was insane. This is Sarathi Korwar, More Arriving. I believe this is his second LP. This is it's like it's come out of the London scene, and he was a classically trained Indian musician, I believe. So there's a lot of like tablas and Indian percussion and Indian musicianship, like mixed with jazz and like hip hop elements. And there's definitely a lot of hip hop guest appearances, like rapping on it and stuff. So it's just an insane album. I mean, I've never really heard anything like it before. So this is probably my favorite release from 2019, at least that I own. So yeah, super stoked to get that. Really good. And I know a lot of people know that record, so I think the next one is a novelty. I'm just guessing by what's next. Yeah, Novelty Record. So this one, some of these were a little tough too. I don't it's kind of hard to do, so I'm gonna be stretching on something. So this is a record actually my sister gave me when my son was born 4 years ago. This is when I first started collecting records. So Rockabye Baby, Lullaby, what is it? Lullaby renditions of Grateful Dead. So yeah, I probably listened to it once. I got it and that was it. So, Novelty Record. Let's see, the next one is Homage cover. Pays homage to another artist. So this one was really tough. I couldn't think of anything. I know the ones I saw like had real obvious homage records. They're like look identical, but they kind of just switch up. It's a different person or whatever. So I was struggling. I couldn't think of it. I thought I had one record, but it just ended up not really being one. So I actually had to Google it and look for stuff I had. So I found this one. This is Bob Dylan Desire, and apparently it's a homage to John Phillips. I don't even know who John Phillips is, but so I don't know, it was a little bit of a stretch, but apparently I did see the covers. He's wearing the same outfit, the same kind of hat, and the same pose and stuff. So Bob Dylan Desire. Let's see. Next one is B-side Deep Cut. So I think I've showed this before in one of my first videos, but I didn't bring the record because it's in my jukebox. But this is Tom Brock, and he only had one album, and I think the album was called If We Don't Make It. No, sorry. I Love You More and More was the name of the album and the title track, and then the B-side is actually If We Don't Make It, Nobody Can. And that song is on and this is Tom Brock it's a Barry White produced album. It's super smooth. I mean, I would compare it up there with Marvin Gaye, What's Going On. Just such a beautiful record. But If We Don't Make It, Nobody Can is actually on the album, but the album version is only instrumental. So the vocals on the 40, this is the only way to get the vocal version is on the 45. And this is a German press. So US, they had 2 singles. One had I Love You More and More, and then the other one with a different song, and then If We Don't Make It, Nobody Can, and a different song. But these were my 2 favorites, so I got a German press of this 45 so I could have both on one 45 in my jukebox. Sorry, it's a long story. Next one I believe is a funky record because I'm just looking at what I have. Something funky. So I got a lot of like funky records. James Brown comes to mind, but this is Marvin Whitney, It's My Thing. This is the original on King, and I got a sweet deal on eBay on this. I don't even know. This is like one of those records, you know, where you just like, you think you bid on eBay, you're gonna, I'll get it for cheap. You just have dreams. This is one of the ones where I think it was a holiday or something, but nobody bid on it. But someone just showed us on Instagram. This is why it's kind of top of mind. This is such a great record. Yeah, there's that sample. Unwind myself. I don't know. I can't remember who sampled it, but it's so good. Next one. So this is another one I believe I stretch on. Weird Shelf Buddies. Record next to each other make an odd pair. So I was really struggling on this one. I categorize my records by genre and then alphabetize within the genre. So I don't know. They all kind of make sense next to each other. Even the genres kind of flow from one to the other. So I don't know. I was struggling. So I picked. This is 2. That's just the only thing I can see that was kind of odd. This is Rye. And this is his debut, or is a band. DJ Milosh, Woman, and Rage Against the Machine, their first album. And I guess the reason I say it's an odd pair is because the music couldn't be more opposite. This is like super smooth, like contemporary, almost like, you know, contemporary jazz kind of. It's not jazz, but it's like kind of in that vein. Very chill. And then this is the complete opposite, just like in your face. Everyone knows this album. So this is not the original press. I wish it was. This is the original, but this one's easy to find. So let's see. Wish I Was There, a band I've seen. And so at least the newer music I have. Probably a lot of the stuff I'm showing, the newer stuff I've seen. So like I've seen Rage. I saw him at Coachella 10 years ago, maybe. I saw Rye. I'm trying to think what else. I didn't know if I see. But anyways, I just picked one that I actually got signed. So and it was a good. It's just a good memory. Like I will never forget this concert. This is Little Dragon, and this is their album Season High. And the reason I won't forget is I saw them at Pappy and Harriet's, which is like a tiny venue in the desert in Southern California, like by Palm Springs, kind of close to where Coachella is. It's tiny. It's like a bar. It's 200 people. And I mean, if you know Little Dragon, I've seen them at festivals a bunch of times, and they're not like huge, but they're like, you know, pretty popular band. And so I'm always like way back in the crowd. So I'm like 10 people away from the band, and I'm in the very back, so which is a tiny venue. And this album is like a little more electronic, and it just was like so much. It just was like in my face. It was amazing. One of the best shows I've ever seen. And so the Pappy and Harris, they kind of have like a back house. So we're waiting for the band to come back. I wanted to meet them. Maybe I brought the record, wanted to get it signed, and they just weren't coming. And one of our friends just kind of like asked the roadie, and they're like, oh, and they're in the back. And my wife kind of snuck in, and she started talking to the guitar player. I told her, gave her the record, go get it signed. And he's like, you know, she's telling him, oh, it's actually from my husband. He's like, where's your husband? I want to meet him. He's outside. So he's like, bring him in. So we came in, and I'm super nervous. I'm not really good in those situations, so I'm kind of starstruck. And the guitar player was super chill though, so we were hitting up a conversation, and then I met the lead singer, and she signed it. So it's just kind of cool. They were really chill, really cool people. Music's amazing. I'll always remember it. And the one thing I do remember, I was a little bit tipsy, especially when I met him, and I was nervous, but he wrote to Hacker. He signed it, and I was like, oh my god, your name's Hacker too? Like, I can't believe it. So I just felt like a fool. But yeah, so super stoked to get that signed. Amazing show. Let's see here. Okay. Oh, so this is wish I had an OG copy but have a repress. And the reason I'm showing this is because this would have been my best find of 2019. This is These Trails. This is kind of like psych folk Hawaiian. So this is Hawaiian musicians. It's crazy. Like they had some Middle Eastern sound, and it's folky, and he's got these crazy, like vocals. The girl's voice is like very angelic. So I found the original this year for like $2. I couldn't believe it. I mean, this is a really rare record, and I don't know. I don't know if I mentioned it on one of my videos. I was trying to put myself on a budget, $50 a month. So I bought that jazz collection with Miles Davis, and it was like $500 for the collection. So I sold the record to pay for the collection, and I didn't know the record that well, so I wasn't too attached to the music and keeping it. But it was an expensive record, so I wanted to listen to it. There was a couple people interested in buying it, so I wanted to kind of, what are the imperfections? How does it sound? And the more I listened to it, I kind of fell in love with it. But I already kind of committed to selling it, and I really needed the money to buy the collection. So So I wish I had kept the copy. So I did buy the repress because I wanted the music, but I wish I had the original. I doubt I'll find it again. It was a private press, so you never know. But yeah, there's that. So let's see. I think the next one is a discography you own. Something I own a majority of the releases of an artist or artist I own the most of. So there's obviously a lot more artists I own a lot more of. I found a ton of Miles Davis last year, like 12, 13 Miles Davis records. I got a lot of Nina Simone. But this is like my favorite kind of newer band. So I do buy all the releases that come out. So this is Local Natives. So yeah, I got their, this is Gorilla Manor, their first one. This is my favorite. This album's amazing. It's called Hummingbird. I believe it's just called Hummingbird. This is amazing. This is so good. Second album, and then I got Local Native Sunday. This is probably one of their, I think it's their weaker album, but I bought this pre-ordered. It came with like an extra single. It's up there somewhere, And this is the last one. This one came out this in 2019. This actually was a really good album too. This is Violet Street, and I pre-ordered it, so I got like the 10-inch unreleased whatever with it. So they only have 4 records. I have the discography. I got a bunch of there's 45s in my. Actually, yeah, I should have grabbed it. Actually, I have 145 as well that they didn't press on an album. It was kind of like just something I put on between albums. So I pretty much have most of their songs. Definitely missing a couple B-sides, but I got a few of their 45s in my jukebox as well. So I have almost everything they put out. So let's see. I'll try to speed it up here. It's 15 minutes. Unique center label. So this one was easy. As soon as I saw the question, I knew. This is, I've probably harped on this a few times. This is Meta Meta, their second album, Metal Metal. This is actually the repress. I have the original as well. But this center label, I love it. It's so good. It's just like, it's a triple kiss, so it's just insane. Like, I don't know why. I think that's so good. So I think the artwork was done by Kiko Danucci, which is the guitar player. This is like the Mars Volta of Brazil, I would say. At least this album. Their first album's a little lighter. This album's a mix between the two, and then their third album's a much harder, like straight. They're all good. I recommend them all, but this is probably my favorite Brazilian album of the last, at least since the 2000s for sure, if not longer. It's really good. This band is kind of what opened the door for me to like newer Brazilian music, because there's basically, well, I think it's a 5-piece, but there's 3 main people. It's the guitar player Kiko Danucci, Marcelo Gisal is the singer, and then Thiago França does like the brass, like the sax and stuff. And so you follow them. Kiko Danucci on his own has got solo stuff, and it was in Passo Torto, which just leads to more Rodrigo Campos, and Thiago França is just insane, like jazz person. So yeah, that's crazy. I love that little label in there. I think the next one is, let's see, Preband, album or band that featured someone who went on to be famous. So first one I could think of was this is the Spencer Davis Group Heavies featuring Steve Winwood. I don't know if this was the first album he was on. I think he might have been on 1 or 2 more before this, but he kind of started to get big. I think he was like 16 or something when he's on this. And there's one song on here that's just like Waltz for Lumumba. Listen to that, dude. Steve Winwood just goes off the hook. But obviously, you know, Steve Winwood blew up Traffic, all that jazz, Blind Faith. It's so good. Let's see, next one. Musical book, movie you'd recommend. I haven't had time to read in a long time. I didn't have any music books anyways. My friend gave me a book with album covers, but I don't even know where it is. So I guess I was just talking to someone today about the CBGB documentary, so I'd recommend that. I mean, I had no idea that all those bands kind of started, Talking Heads and Police and Ramones and Blondie, and just the list is endless of Patti Smith, all kind of got their start, blew up there. So I recommend that if you haven't seen that. I don't have it, but underrated album. So this, I mean, I guess I kind of go by Discogs, like how people want it, how much does it sell for. So I just picked this one, Turtle Giant. I don't know why. I've loved it. And their album after this is even better. And I say it's underrated. Well, first of all, there was a small press. This is All Hidden Places EP. This is a blue vinyl on Turntable Kitchen. I thought when I saw this was pressed, when I discovered them, I found it was pressed on vinyl. I bought it. It was a small run. I thought for sure it would sell out and be like something rare and hard to get. But you can still buy copies. And this was pressed, God, 5+ years ago. And they came out with an album after this, which is even better, I think. But they never pressed it on vinyl. I don't even know if they did a CD. Maybe they did a CD. Unfortunately, I think these guys broke up. I mean, so I don't know. I think this album's great. I've showed it to a bunch of people. People think it's okay. One of my friends thinks it's really good, like I do, but I think it's underrated. But I have weird taste, so who knows? Sorry about that. Just flipping the record here. So let's see here. Underrated, no, batting average. Artist band who consistently makes good albums. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in the 70s, you know, all Beatles and all that stuff, but I picked some of them newer. Radiohead, I think just because Radiohead was always evolving too, and this is the only two I have, Kid A, and this is the original Europe press. I do want to get the UK press. I would love to have. This was a gift from my friend in 2019, so super excited to get that. Then I bought this one in Rainbows. And yeah, they just always evolving, and I don't know if they've ever, even their stuff now, I don't think they're changing as much and being as experimental as much as they were. More, not as definitive as they were doing, like they were just pushing boundaries, but still really solid stuff every time. But Kid A, In Rainbows, OK Computer, I think those are insane albums. Amnesiac's good. The Benz is mind-blowing. So I would love to get them all on vinyl. Unfortunately, I kind of hold out for originals, so, and those, they're not cheap. So I'll get them one day, but. So this one is same album, different cover. So I originally thought of Blind Faith because I have the nude cover and the just the other one that's kind of like vintage. But this, I want to show this one. This is Once a Combo, and I actually have four different. It's the same album, but I have four different covers, and I think I've shown this in one of my first videos, but this is on the same label as the Meta Meta record. This is Goma Gringa, my favorite label in Brazil. So this was just the regular standard, and they only pressed, I think, 150 copies. So this, I thought of this one as coming maybe underrated albums too, because it did sell out, but I don't know. It's never sold on Discogs, so I don't know. Maybe people are seeking it. It has more people that want it than have it now, so maybe it is people finally discover. I think it's amazing. It's like it's three-piece, it's kind of jazzy, tribal, Brazilian. I don't know. It's a lot of percussion, and it's just a drummer, I think a guitar player, and a sax. I think that's it. It's just very, I don't know. It's amazing. They only have one album. This is it. It's so good. But I have four covers. So there was the 150 press, the regular run. And then they did a run of 20 where the artists actually did, these are all hand-drawn, so these are all unique hand-drawn covers, and they all come out, and I'll just show you this one, but so yeah, he hand-drew them. These are all, so they had a 20, completely different. He signed it. Oh yeah, 20 of 20, you can see there, 20 of 20. So yeah, these were actually not cheap, and there's only 20, and I bought one. I didn't want to be like super greedy, but I bought one, and the regular one's album sold out in like a few days, and lucky I'm on their email list, I got a copy, but I bought one of these like the first day when they released these a little bit later, the hand-drawn, and but they were still for sale like 6 months later, and I was going to Brazil, so I just bought two more. They're finally sold. They sold out now, but they weren't cheap for sure. But yeah, I got four different, and I've never played those. I play this one. It's amazing. Check it out if you never heard Onca Combo. O-N-C-A. C has like a little goatee or a beard on it, and then Combo. So let's see. Next one is an album you bought cheap that's now worth money. So, I bought tons of records for cheap at collections, garage sales and stuff, but I bought this brand new. This is actually Goma Gringa, the same label as Onca Combo and Meta Meta. Obviously you can tell this is my favorite. But this is Tiago França, and I think it's just RAN, R-A-N. So Tiago França and Space Charanga, R-A-N. So you can see here, I bought it for 90 reais. I bought it for 90 reais. So I bought it when it was still from the label, and 90 reais is about $25. And this record goes, I think it's sold for $100, maybe, I don't know if it was 2019 or 2018. So this doesn't even sell very often, so I don't even know what it would sell for now. But I really like Thiago França. He's in Meta Meta. He's a sax player, and this is kind of more like free jazz. It's not too out there, but it's really good. And I'm not a big jazz aficionado, but I picked up an Ornette Coleman. I found an Ornette Coleman record last year, and just the sound kind of reminds me of Thiago França. So I could be way off. I'm not a jazz. I like it, and I'm new to it, but I think this is amazing. And so he's got 2 releases on the Goma Gringa, and they're both the same kind of thing. Sold out, haven't sold, and they're like impossible to get. Really good. An album. Favorite drummer. So, I mean, there's a lot of good drummers, but this is the first one I thought of. This is the only Tool album I have. This is Opiate. Actually, I found this for like a quarter. I really want Enema, and I saw them when they were touring. It was like the first concert I went to. So another band I've seen. My friend won tickets to the Pit, and this is like 1990, mid-90s, 96, 97. Might have been, it was at least 16, so I had 96 to 98, somewhere around there. So they were touring for Enema, and so he won Pit tickets. So he's the best drummer I've ever seen. Danny Carey, I believe is his name. I think it's Danny Carey. Dude, and he's the only one that I can just, when I think of like, besides, I mean, there's a lot of good jazz drummers, but non-jazz drummer, you think of a drum solo, and song number 5 on Enema, so it's just insane. And I know he studied like geometry, and he plays like these weird time signatures, and when I saw him live, he just went off for like, they played like most of their set, and then he just went off for like 15 minutes by himself. The whole band left. He's just going nuts, and then he just never stopped, and they just came back on and just went right into another song. So yeah, dude, so insane. And by the way, Neil Peart just died today, so another great drummer. So let's see, this one I believe is Turning 20, the album Turning 20 in 2020. So I thought this would be tough. I did think of Kid A, but I saw Dean at Grandma's Handbag show that, so I kind of want to be a little different, not just show the same. Show stuff that everyone's saying. This is Blonde Redhead. This is Melody of Certain Damaged Lemons. Yes. So Blonde Redhead is, and I don't have a lot of records from their early 90s, early 2000s, late 90s, so I thought 2000, I thought it'd be tough, but this, I don't know, when I first heard this, my friend introduced me when I was in college, and it just like blew my mind. I think it's For the Damage. There's a song at the end, it's just like, dude, I feel like seriously, it's like one of the songs where I first heard it, I kind of almost cried, it's just so, I don't know, it's intense. Beautiful, intense. I love it. I seen these guys live too. I saw them at Coachella a long time ago. So good. I mean, I think it's 2 Italian twins, the drummer and the guitar player, and then the girl, I don't know what nationality, but she sings in like Italian, English, Japanese, I don't know, French maybe, I don't know. But out of their catalog, they got a couple of pretty good records. I do have a couple more, I think, but this is by far my favorite. So happy 20th birthday. I believe this is the last. How am I doing on time? Jeez, 28 minutes. Good lord. A trilogy of 3 albums. So I didn't want to be obvious. I mean, I've already seen people show Miles Davis, and people were talking about Pink Floyd, and I don't know. And there was a lot of ones I wanted to show, but I was missing something in the third. Like Nick Drake, I wanted to show, but I'm missing one. And Funkadelic, I think someone showed, and I'm missing one anyway. I didn't have the sequence. So I just showed these, and I showed this because these are like 3 I actually sought after every single one. And this is Pato, P-A-T-T-O, I think it's Pato. And these are the only Vertigo records I have too. And this cover is just awesome, dude. It's one of my favorite covers. Look at that, and it folds out. There's like his hair like blows out the window. I don't know, this is really good. The guitar player is amazing, Ali Hassal. These guys were, they were like a more kind of like that Blue-Eyed Soul thing that was kind of going, Northern Soul sound that was going through UK. These guys, a UK band. Can't think of the name. It's escaping me. But they were like a different band, and then they changed the name, and they just a little bit harder. But the guitar playing is really good. It's like kind of jazzy too. So I definitely recommend. So this is the first album. That's the original US. This is also the original US. This is Vertigo. This is their second album. Hold Your Fire, really good. And then this last one. This is probably not as well regarded, but this is they only did 3 albums. Roll 'em, Smoke 'em, and put another line out. This one's on Island. There's a song on here I really love. I think it's Singing the Blues on Red or something. Singing the Blues on Reds. Yeah, it's good. So those are my 3. I don't really have any shout outs. I've been really behind on watching videos. I had a kid. I mean, I'm watching. I still kind of try to every once in a while keep up with the typical, but you all know them. They're all huge people. But do want to shout out to Tone Scott. He does have a Vinyl Spot series going on his channel. So he's kind of going through LA record stores. So if you're gonna come to LA to go record shopping, definitely check out his channel because he's showing a lot of LA stores. So anyways, that's my vinyl 2020. 2019 was an amazing year. I'm just going through when I'm posting stuff on Instagram or whatever. I don't know how many records I've got, 50 maybe more, and they're just insane. Like original Coltrane's, Miles, that Troutfish. I got so many Brazilian records, and I kept on budget, which was insane. So I don't know how I'm gonna replicate that. I think I need to cut back a little bit online, but I'm gonna look for more collection, more crazy stuff that I wasn't really seeking. So I hope I hope it all works out in 2020, and I hope everyone the best. And thanks for watching. Vinyl Tag 2020.